All right, thank you, Dion. I will call this regular meeting of the Bethel Board of Selectmen to order for Tuesday, October 19th, 2021. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. First order of business is public comments. I don't think we have any visitors online with us tonight. None here in the municipal center, so we'll move on. Correspondence, anything come in? Any late correspondence? All right. Moving on to number 4, the first selectmen's report. 2 things I'd like to share with you. Number 1, I'm going to hold this up so people can see. This is the a new report that this is the first time I've ever seen anything like this. This is the Bethel 2021 Equity Profile. And this is a report that was created by a nonprofit called Data Haven with support from several nonprofit foundations and nonpartisan foundations. And what this company did, or this organization, they did a profile, a very comprehensive demographic and equity profile of all 169 Connecticut towns and cities. And this was published last week in the Connecticut News Junkie, available for free to all towns. So I downloaded copies. I sent each of my colleagues at the Board of Selectmen a copy of this, as well as to the Economic Development Office and to the Land Use Office and Zoning Offices. And after tonight, we will also post the PDF on the town website so people can see this. So it profiles Bethel with regard to population demographics, racial profiles, housing availability and cost, education, economic factors, and health, income and wealth, civic life, including a measure of satisfaction with local government, which I'm pleased to report is that 69% of the people said that they find their local government responsive, but I'd like to see that a lot higher, obviously. But it's chock full of information. Just a couple of high points. Since the 2010 census, the town's population has increased by about 1,711 people, which represents a 9.5% increase. 29% of Bethel's residents are now people of color. The largest racial group is Latinx. Bethel has 7,164 independent households, and 79 of which are owner occupied. However, on the downside, 34%, just a hair over a third of all those households are cost burdened, which means that they are in a position where they are spending 30% or more of their basic income on housing, and they're increasingly struggling to keep up with that. Bethel has just under 7,200 jobs, most of which are in the manufacturing sector. So if either of you want a printed copy of this, I had a bound version made at Staples, so we could have that done, because it's something that I will be referring to quite a lot, but it's intended to guide our decision making with regard to various policy things. I'll also distribute that to the Board of Education office.
Is that online?
It will be tomorrow. We're going to post the full PDF, but if you want a printed copy, we can get that for you. And then the second issue is on COVID status. We have now gone 3 weeks in a row with the numbers staying below the threshold that we established earlier. So the mask mandate remains lifted, and numbers continue to trend down. Actually, the state positivity rate, daily positivity rate, is down to 1.2% again, and ours is falling, went from 2.4 to 2.2 to 2.0, and I think we're going to see it well below 2 when the numbers come out. So still need to be careful. We have advised local businesses they're free to require masks if they feel it is important to their depending on their physical space requirements, but the mandatory public space mandate that had been in place for a couple of months is lifted. So that's my synopsis for the day. I want to turn the floor over to my colleagues if you have anything to add.
Matt, just out of curiosity, since the CDC and the FDA
is now considering the booster shots. Is our public health department or health department going to be involved in these boosters? Because most of us, when we had the program here, it was all Moderna at the time.
Right.
And I don't know, is there any thinking in that direction?
They will probably only be involved when it applies to homebound people. They'll do an outreach. But unlike last winter when the supply of vaccines was very scarce, our VNA Health, we've already
pharmacy or your doctor for it.
We've already had, I think, 3 or 4 clinics, COVID-19 vaccine clinics, that our VNA Health, which had absorbed Bethel VNA, had done right here in Town Hall or in the schools. And they have Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson, so you can take your pick. So there probably won't be any reason for us to set up a comprehensive clinic like we did before.
And what about if the CDC and FDA approves, let's say, the 5 to 12-year-olds, that's going to be a massive thing for the town.
I'm not aware of any plans that just yet, but I would imagine we'll
That's
probably get
around the
about
corner, I know.
we'll probably get about a week's notice if they approve it for that age group.
Okay.
So we'll have to look at that. Rich, did you have anything?
Well, it's just, the fire commission met last week, and they were going to refer a couple things to the board of selectmen to move on to the board of finance. So
Oh, okay.
I don't see it on the agenda here, and so I don't know if anything. Well, it's probably in the minutes, but Mr. Brown is new to being chairman, plus he works during the day, so I'll follow up with him that he has to make a formal presentation or send a letter to the board of selectmen to address those things. But there was 2 things: the Jaws of Life for Stony Hill that was in the capital non-recurring, and Bethel was looking for sets of uniforms, firefighter uniforms, not dress uniforms, firefighter uniforms.
Oh, turnout.
Turnout gear, that's the word. And they have 7 new members, but they give the new members the old equipment, and they give the new equipment to the existing members. So that'll be hopefully we'll have that on our agenda for next.
Yep, we will. We'll make sure we get that. Okay, anything else?
No.
Okay, great. Well, moving on to number 5, consideration of the minutes of October 5, 2021. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any comments, corrections? Hearing none. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, that carries. Item number 6, consideration of tax refunds. So I'll put a motion on the floor. This will be our great tax collector's last request before she retires, which her last day is this Friday. And I would like to invite my colleagues to come to her swearing in on Friday morning at 9 o'clock in the GP room. And breakfast will be there.
What time?
9 o'clock. To swear in Paula Usher as our new tax collector. But I'm going to put a motion on the floor at Ann's request that we approve tax refunds in the amount of $7,100.29. And these are as a result of overpayment of taxes. There's a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
These are just drama release.
Yep.
Overpayments.
Yep, routine. Okay, those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, that carries. Next 2 items, number 7 and number 8. We're trying to get under the wire, included in the current capital plan from the 21-22 fiscal year, to be anticipated in capital non-recurring, 2 trucks that were scheduled for replacement, and Mr. Dibble is trying to get it under the wire before the supply problems get any worse, because I'm sure you've read logistics, cost of materials, cost of chips in the automotive and trucking markets have really bound up the supply chain, and he's looking to get these things going, and hopefully he'll get these things without too much trouble within the next 4 or 5 months. The first item, and I'll put a motion on the floor to support this, is to approve to be paid from capital non-recurring funds and forward to the Board of Finance for their approval, the purchase of a Ford F-550 4x4. This is a chassis only. The body would have to be built out afterwards. We don't have a quote on that. So the cost for the chassis is $37,643.60. I'll make a motion that we approve this purchase at $37,644 even.
I'll second that for discussion.
Okay?
You know, one thing I've noticed, I always thought we were going to standardize colors here. This particular truck, as I looked at it, it's red. I thought highway is yellow.
Well, they try to standardize with yellow, but when they get them on the state bid for less
Yeah,
money.
okay, I understand. I would assume also this is going to be a dump because we're replacing, this is the truck that we're replacing.
This is for building maintenance, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Wait a minute.
Well, no, the other
No,
one,
this is highway.
no,
Oh, this
the
is
one, they're both listed as highway, but the one behind it, number 8 on the agenda is the building maintenance. So Eric, do you have any information on that? But Mr. Dibble was not available tonight.
Yeah, I do. If you want me to go through it, Bob, Bob was going to try to make it, but he gave me his notes in case he couldn't. So I guess he's not going to make it. So if you want, I'll go through everything.
Mhm.
So the reason this is coming up is that we were informed by our dealer, which is a Connecticut DAS dealer, that Ford is putting a freeze on new truck orders from November of this year until around the same time next year. Hold on, excuse me. Okay, yeah, go. Sorry about that. The 3 trucks in question are already in. They were in the pipeline. They were already in the 2020 and 2021 and 2022 capital plans. There's one building maintenance truck, which is will be the entire new vehicle, and then 2 highway trucks, which are both chassis only. Those 2 are essentially the same purchase. So in terms of what they're replacing, I'll just go through a little bit to give you an idea of the condition. So the first one, the building maintenance one, is a 1998 Chevy. It's got almost 88,000 miles on it. It's in poor condition. The cab is rotted. There's holes in the floor. The engine has a rear main seal that's leaking. And as far as the 2 highway trucks, the first one, truck number 13, is a 2006 Ford, which has 100,000 miles on it. It's also in poor condition. The oil leaks, there's rot in the cab, and also the all-season dump body is in poor condition. So some of that would need replacement in terms of the dump body. The third one, the other highway one, is truck number 16, a 2005 Ford with 112,000 miles on it. Also in poor condition, oil leaks, cab rot, and also the all-season body has similar problems, structurally poor, and hydraulic components are worn. So each of those 3, the first one, the building maintenance one, the 1998 Chevy, we propose to replace it with a new Ford costing a total of around $45,000. And the 2 highway trucks are proposed to be replaced with new Ford chassis only. So there'd be 2 chassis only, each $37,500. So about $75,000 for the 2 of them. So altogether, that's $120,000. I think that should cover all the details, but Matt, let me know if there's any other questions or you need further details.
Eric, the only question I had is that for the paperwork that Bob submitted for tonight, he's only requesting one of the F-550s.
The original email he sent us, Matt, asked for 2.
Oh, he did. So he just did not. All right,
I agree with you. I only saw one.
yeah. No, in Bob's material paperwork, he only listed one.
Are you talking about the chassis?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe that the reason is because those two are the same thing. There'd be 2 of the same chassis.
Okay, yeah.
Matt, and I believe your motion
right.
had it 37,644. It's 37,544.
Yeah, you're right, 37,544.
Is this the same thing as a lowboy? Or you, I would think,
These are chassis only.
I
there's
know,
no
these are
body.
bigger. This is F-550. Well, in other words, you're gonna be coming back to us for a dump body for both of them.
Yes, correct. You're right.
Okay. Let's take care of this one, because on the 250, I've got questions.
Okay, well, all right, I see in the email that Bob sent me later this afternoon, which is not even in your packet. You're right up here. It says one building maintenance truck, that's the replacement for,
The 250.
yeah, that's truck 56, and then 2 highway trucks. So that's truck 13 and truck 16. So one is the 2006 Ford F-550, one is the 2005 Ford F-550. So I'm going to amend my motion to make that 2 Ford F-550s at a total cost of, I just wrote this down, $75,088.
Okay, further discussion. Brad, how are we paying for this?
Capital non-recurring. Well,
Mhm.
it's up to the Board of Finance, but there is money in capital non-recurring to do it.
Capital non-returning? you
Yes.
say?
Yep.
Then we have the money in there?
Yeah. There's, if you give me 1 minute, I will tell you what's out there in capital non-recurring right now. Should have had opened. Maybe. So right now, there is $1,816,000 that has not been allocated to a project in capital non-recurring. Less than that, if you take away the 950, the 950 was not acted on by the Board of Finance. So the 1,816,000 is before the fire truck of 950.
Okay. Next question I've got for you, Brad. In this year's budget, I'm trying to go back and think. Every year, they have come to us for a new Peterbilt for the heavy duty ones. Is that still in this year's budget?
In the capital plan that I sent you before, he does list a, no, because he got one. So in 22-23, he had a class 8 truck, 2 class 8 trucks. So I believe those are the Peterbilts.
That's in 2023?
Yes. He's still waiting on the last one we ordered.
Well, we haven't delivered it yet?
No, because it's hung up with all the supply chain stuff.
Yeah, that one got delayed. It was supposed to be delivered over the summer, but it's been delayed by supply chain. Plus the company was purchased by another. So I have a feeling that had something to do with it as well.
Because I was left to the impression that the Fords, we wanted to replace them all with Peterbilts, but maybe I was misled on this. The thinking was always that we want to standardize all of our fleet to one brand. And I always knew that, you know, the Ford Sterlings, after a period of time, parts were short and they didn't stand up as well as the Peterbilts.
I think, Paul, I think that was just for the class 8 trucks, the
Yeah.
big trucks.
Okay,
These are the smaller,
but they still have a dump body that you
Yeah.
use for plowing.
Yeah, but they're the small two-wheel truck, you know, the
Okay.
low boy trucks.
But they're not really low boys, they're bigger than low boys.
Yeah.
We did buy one of these Ford F-550s in 2020.
All right,
So
All right.
it is part of his fleet.
let's move on to the 250. Let's first of all go for approval on this.
Well, did you second my amendment?
I second it.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve $75,088, not to exceed that amount for the chassis, for two chassis at Ford F-550s. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 That carries. All right, so to get the ball rolling on number 8, this would be for replacement of truck number 56. And,
Second that one.
yep, so I'll put a motion on the floor that we purchase send to the Board of Finance for their consideration to be paid from CNR, Ford F-250 to replace truck number 56 at the amount not to exceed $45,080. And that's complete. That's not chassis only. That's got everything.
Okay, discussion?
Yeah, did you second?
I'll second it.
Okay, right, go ahead.
Okay. I purchased a lot of trucks in my lifetime too. I've looked at this bid. First of all, again, I thought we're standardizing colors. This is going to white, but I understand the shortage. However, I want to go through this list right here. And I don't want to be the guy to say I'm pouring water on this entire quote here. But first of all, on item number on this thing from
This one?
bid, yeah, from Gingras, right? Item number 8, it says Power Equipment Group, accessory delay, integrated key manual telescoping, trailer tow mirrors with power, perimeter anti-theft alarms, power from side windows with one-touch up-down power locks, remote keyless entry system, upgraded door trim panel, $1,125. I have a problem with that. Secondly is uplifter switches, okay? These are I know these are extra switches that you have in the truck for accessories. That's you're looking at $165 for that. Brake controller, $270. This is for when you're pulling a trailer at high speeds. Bethel, if this is being used around here, we're certainly not going to be doing 45 and 50 miles an hour. Then we get down to item number 13, LT 275 Black Sidewall all-terrain tires. This is not an off-road vehicle. And then we get down to number 16. It's the STX appearance package includes bright chrome grille, bright hub covers, chrome front and rear bumpers. And I can tell you, chrome bumpers, after 5 years as a municipal thing, we're going to be replacing them. Okay, they rot out. Okay, cruise control, steering wheel mounted, STX badging. Okay, whatever that means, and a special paint. Okay, and aluminum wheels. Boy, we're really setting up a nice standard here for the town. Then skid plates here. You know, if you're a truck enthusiast, okay, boy, you know what? This is a nice truck. You know, for off-roading. And then we get down to sync number 22. Now, sync is nothing but a Bluetooth. It's Bluetooth. Allows you to talk between your phone and voice commands and within the truck itself. This is a total of $4,100 extra. You know, this is going to be, oh, hey, if I got this truck, maybe the next set of trucks we should have all of this too. Next thing I'm going to find is white walls on a future truck. You know, this is overboard. I think, you know, we need a basic truck here. I'm sorry that, you know, the automotive industry is screwed up right now because of issues with trying to get the right type of computers in it. But, you know, this is a little bit overboard for me.
Paul, I don't know if, because it's a state bid, I don't know if all those specs are by the state.
It's the appearance.
I understand. I'm just saying, I don't know if we have a choice in some of that, if it is state bid.
You're setting up a sort of a standard here that in the future, they say, well, we had it on this truck, why can't we have it on others? It's just a lot of extras in here, $4,100 worth of extras that are not necessary.
These are in-house vehicles that they're purchasing, or they're not ordered, are they?
They're in stock.
In
Right.
stock, so that's what they're putting all these extras on for people to buy.
Yeah,
Well, what I'm wondering is I'm looking at, on factory options, there's a $382 discount. And then, on the back page, you see aftermarket options discount of $32.28, $32.29 essentially. So that takes $36.11 off the price. What we don't know, Paul, is if you custom ordered it with those things out, it might actually be more expensive.
Yeah.
oh, I understand that, but it's just the
Yeah.
the audacity of the whole thing here, that we're putting all these extra little fine features that, if you're a truck enthusiast, boy, you say, hey, neat truck. Going off-roading and all that, but hey, we're not doing this here. This is a municipality vehicle.
Mhm.
Why doesn't somebody just ask Mr. Dibble?
Yeah, we'll have to.
I find it hard to believe that Mr. Dibble went through and said, we're gonna get this, we're gonna get this, and we're gonna get this. I think this is what's probably on the lot. And if you, there it is.
I'm sure of that, Marty. I'm sure it's a matter of what's available. But it's just the appearance of this vehicle driving around town. I mean, if you're a truck enthusiast, you just say, hey, neat truck, guys. What do your other ones look like? You got to upgrade.
Yeah. I hear the point, because it's a state bid and that's what's on the lot. I'm gonna vote yes anyway, but send it to the Board of Finance, but
And they are showing the discount on the vehicle too.
yeah, that's true.
You came up, what, 4,100, Paul?
Yeah, it's 40, I totaled it up. It's 4,100,
4,100, and Matt, you said it's 3,600.
$3,611 discounts on the options.
Yeah.
So you're not quite free, but almost.
There's no such thing as free money.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah.
All right, any other comments?
I don't think you want to hear anything more from me.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor to send this to the Board of Finance for their approval, their consideration, I should say. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. 2 ayes, 1 nay. So thank you very much. And moving on to item number 9, we have to schedule a town meeting date to complete the funding transfer for Park and Rec, which would include both the expense and the revenue. Deanne, did you take a look at a date for that?
You know what? I hadn't even written down to talk to you about it.
Oh.
Like, we kept getting sidetracked. I did look, but I think that we're scheduled, the thing is we're scheduled for November 3rd for our next Board of Selectmen meeting, which that's right after the election.
Oh, that's right.
So would you want to do it like on the 9th before the Board of Finance? Or do you want to do it that first week in November?
We were going to have a special BOS on the 3rd, right, on
Mhm.
Wednesday? Why don't we do it at 6:30 that day?
You want to do it on the
Yeah,
3rd?
sure.
Okay.
Yep. So I'll make a motion that we schedule the special town meeting for Wednesday, November 3rd at 6:30 in meeting room A.
Matt, I know we had talked about doing a LoSiP, so which
Yeah.
you might need a town meeting for anyway. Did you want to
Yeah.
hold off and try to do those together, just so we can save on advertising costs and everything else?
You know what, that's good. I'm gonna withdraw my motion. That's a good idea. Because we can do the LoSiP on the 3rd. And then our next regular meeting would be November 16th, right?
So then just do it.
Why don't we
then.
do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that we reserve Tuesday, November 16th at 6:30 in Clifford J. Hergen Municipal Center Meeting Room A for the purpose of both. All right, thanks, Brad. Good idea.
If you do want to go ahead and say LoSiP and,
Yeah.
or do we need to vote on? Okay.
Well, we'll just call it reserve date for special town meeting. We'll
Yeah.
fill it because we haven't
Yeah,
voted
we'll
on
fill
the
that
LoSiP.
in,
Yeah. All right,
We get us, some paperwork on that, what you're proposing for
Sure.
that?
Yep.
For the losses.
I will do that. All right, so we have a motion on the floor to, who seconded that?
Second.
All right, seconded by Rich. So we'll reserve, just to make sure we have the room reserved and notify staff and the registrars that we are reserving Tuesday, the 16th, 6:30 for a special town meeting.
Sounds good.
Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That carries. Item number 10, actually, we're not considering the police range exactly today. What I wanted to do, we had Nancy Ryan and I had a very nice discussion about the police station. The wall is essentially done, the famous leaky wall. We will have her at the next meeting to give kind of a final report. But what I want to do is I want to put a motion on the floor, which I'll make right now, that we formally turn the range over to the Public Site and Building Committee to begin developing specs, put it out to bid, and get this rolling, so we can complete the project.
So I'll second that for discussion.
Okay?
Okay. You know, I think we have said in the past, I'd like to see the water test. But we went through the first water test, okay, and it was leaking. And I asked that the Board of Selectmen, when they finalized, and they're absolutely sure that we visually see another water test. I haven't seen it yet.
You will be, I think,
Yeah, they did,
they did one,
unfortunately, they did it Monday.
Well,
but they're gonna do another one, Nancy said.
Another one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because they found some loose flashing or something, but
Okay,
so there's gonna be another one.
I'd like to see that before we start putting
Yeah,
the money.
and just, you know, if Nancy can let the Board of Selectmen know, so we can, I know Paul likes to be there and I like to be there. I was
Sure.
unable to attend on Monday.
Yeah, I think
I'll
it's good.
email Nancy and ask her when the next water test.
Okay.
is gonna be.
Thank you.
There's an awful lot of work because this equipment, this is an old quote, the prices are not good in this anymore, but you know, it isn't just having all the stuff in boxes and you put it out. There's some engineering that has to go with it, some HVAC
Right.
to keep the building from weeping and leaking again with water. So we want to turn this over. So there's a lot of preliminary work. So I want to just formally get the Public Site Building Committee working on this because they weren't really, this had been stripped out of the original plan, as you know. So that's why I want to formally put this in their lap. So,
But that price code in there is not valid then?
no,
Okay.
no, it's going to have to be put out for bid and, do that stuff. So any other questions on that?
No.
All right, those in favor of assigning this to Public Site and Building,
Aye.
please signify by saying
Aye.
aye. All right. Thank you very much. And then second to last item, number 11, consideration of RFQ for owner's representative. Now, my thinking on this, and we've talked about this internally for months now, we are going to have a lot of projects happening, such as finalizing the police station. The Public Site Building is already working on several ARPA projects like renovating the front, this building, renovating the locker rooms. We are, at our next meeting, I'm going to be coming forward with a formal plan to begin work on the final expansion of Clark Park, which is building out the road to do the last 4 lots. We have a grant in place that was obtained by EDC to do that. And frankly, I think the experience that we had with the police station and just the workload internally here shows us that we should have either an owner's representative or a clerk of the works or a project management firm of some kind, like the way the school project had
Right.
STV on duty for that. So I want to have a formal vote to authorize the finance department to put out a request for qualifications and attract some interest in that so we can make a decision at a future meeting as to which direction we want to go.
Yeah, exactly, because it goes to that charter revision request that I put in, to have a quotation such that once we get it, we don't have to come back for change orders.
Yes, right.
No, and I think it's a great idea, Matt, putting a clerk of the works or whatever we want
Yeah.
in there as an owner's representative. I think too often in the past, companies have taken advantage of municipalities, and I just want to bring an end to this.
Right. Well, interestingly, Janice Christianica and I had a meeting today with two representatives from a firm that specializes just in this kind of work. In fact, they will even do the specs for you on a one-off basis. Like there's nothing too small for them to do. Their biggest project was a $300 million bridge replacement in New York City. But they said, for any size project, if you need us to write the specs, if you need us to provide the project oversight as a project manager, you know, they have a menu of options that you can choose from. So they're just one firm that we would invite to give us a proposal on this. So I think it's
I think it's a good idea.
right. Thank you very much. So we have a motion on the floor to put out an RFQ for the upcoming ARPA and other projects. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, that carries. Last item is consideration of sustainable Bethel and
Hey, man, I just want to say something before you go on to the next topic. We still need a town meeting for that grant for the Clark Park.
I thought we did that.
No,
No?
So I said, everything got all wrapped up and everything's moving forward. And I mean, what happens if you go to a town meeting and they deny it?
Yeah, we can put it on.
They're getting a 600,000 plus grant for a job that's going to cost 1.2 million, as far as they know. So at some point, they have to have a town meeting in order to accept those $600,000.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna put it on the 16th.
Just keep that in mind.
We'll put it on the 16th. We already reserved the 16th for a town meeting, so we can add that to it.
We have three items in.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Marty.
Yeah.
All right. So the last item on our agenda is the sustainable Bethel proposal that I dropped in your laps last time. I know you probably didn't bring it with you, so I gave you guys a copy of my original proposal, but I downloaded not all of it, but just a portion of the sustainable CT program. Currently, about 120 towns in Connecticut have not only joined the program, but they have actually earned their first or second level of certification. And I think the only part of the discussion where there was some, we needed some more clarity and discussion on it was my plan, which actually was the suggestion of Bill Craddy, who's the chair of the current Energy Commission, had actually felt that this would be taking the entire sustainable CT menu of things, of tasks, and folding it into the energy thing, or actually folding energy into the sustainable Bethel plan made a lot of sense. And there's a number of reasons for that. You will see, I didn't download anything. You probably would have had 20 pages of material if I downloaded everything, but you can see that the sustainable CT action list includes all energy, a lot of energy improvements, electric vehicles, solar, other forms of renewable. But Mr. Craddy's suggestion, and I think it bears a lot of weight, and I think his committee is on board with this too. You know, in between solar projects and energy efficiency projects, there isn't a lot for that committee to do, and a lot of people have lost interest in it. On the other hand, we have several people who have just heard about this plan that I put in front of you, word of mouth, and they're calling up and they're anxious to join. So I would really strongly recommend that we approve the plan to incorporate energy into the overall sustainable Bethel committee and reconstitute that committee, kind of reinvigorate it and give it more to do. So so I haven't made that into a motion yet. We tabled it at the last meeting, but I want to get your feedback on that before I make that into a motion.
I'd like to have Bill Craddock come in and talk to us.
Okay.
Anybody else? And
Should we add that to the next meeting?
Yeah, we can do that at the next meeting.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, hey, Matt, can I ask a question?
Sure.
I know I'm not a member of the board, but I gotta tell you, I looked at this and I didn't go and check all the sites and things like that, but I'm having a tough time trying to understand what's the point of this. I mean, maybe you can explain it to me in a few words, because I don't get it. I just don't get it. What happens when we join this program? What's gonna happen?
Well, we'll have, you know, I think that's a good question. What's the point? Well, let me work backwards. Let's say we do a bunch of this stuff and we meet the goals and objectives. And, you know, we put together a committee of volunteers. We'll get a plaque to put out there in the lobby that has either a bronze medal on it, or if we you know do more, then we'll get a silver medal.
Right.
Okay, so that's great. We could go buy it up there. What this does really, it's a methodology of just getting local governments to think about these things that enhance the quality of life in the community, and also produce savings in energy, savings in good efforts in land conservation and things like that. So it's a community involvement program more than anything. It doesn't cost us anything to join it. It's basically, and actually they actually say they prefer that you don't have it staffed by employees or department heads. They really want committees of volunteers like any other volunteer commission to work on this thing. And to my surprise, when I looked into this, there's over 120 towns that have already joined this thing, and they have very successful programs, and they have a lot of community involvement in this. So they get involved in some of these other areas. They will make presentations to other boards and commissions on ideas they may have. But it's another way to involve the community in some of these
And you're talking about the Energy Commission being the point board for this? Is that what you're saying?
Well, actually,
There's a lot of categories there. I mean,
I know.
there's
Well,
a tremendous amount of categories.
Yeah. So, yeah, all right. Recycling, here's one. Develop a food waste prevention campaign for scraps or recovery. Some of this is just educational, like getting volunteers to put together a community-based outreach program to teach people how to improve their recycling. Some of it has to do with economic development. Some of it has to do with effective waste management, resiliency planning, in terms of like what the committee would do with resiliency planning is, let's say you get some volunteers together, to form this committee. They might make a recommendation to planning and zoning that they consider things like what do they call it, permeable parking lots to reduce rainwater runoff, which is part of the MS4 thing. So what my proposal said was we disband the Energy Committee completely and start over with the Sustainable CT, but energy would be included in it. And the members of the current Energy Committee who are still meeting, because so many times Mr. Craddy said they get together and their people haven't come to a meeting in 2 years and they can't even have a vote. So, but the ones who are coming to the meetings currently are very much in favor of going this way and making this a more expansive committee. They would join the new committee.
Is this run by deep or where's the state agency involved? Is it a separate agency?
No, it's through deep.
It's through deep.
Yeah. The state sustainable CT. It's the executive director is Lynn Stoddard, who used to be the economic development director for Newtown.
are there grants available? And-
Yes.
And things like that?
Yes, there's funding available. My friend of mine, Laura Francis, the first selectwoman of Durham, she's had a committee in place for several years, and they've attracted thousands of dollars in grants to do things like community outreach and education, especially in areas of recycling.
It's just, I was familiar with, in the beginning of the Amoresco and the energy projects, and then going into the solar project. There's just so much involved just within that field. That's why I really would like to hear from Bill Craddy on it.
Yeah. Well, actually, some of the sustainability committees around the state that have adopted this they've brought in Amoresco and some of Amoresco's competitors, and they've done the same thing. All this really would be doing would be giving the committee more things to do and getting more people involved. But, there's quite a few people that would be interested in doing some of this stuff. And the thing about it is, I might have even made the committee too small in my proposal. You might want to have it a little bit bigger so you can have like a subcommittee of 3 working on recycling and another group
Well,
working on.
that's a possibility,
Yeah.
sure.
But it would give them the ability to do more with the folks they have, and it kind of reinvigorate the energy scene too, I think. But
Hey, Matt?
if you want to table it and have Bill come to the next meeting, then
I'd like to table it.
all right, we can do that. All right, all right, so I'll make a motion that we table and invite Mr. Craddy to the next regular meeting.
Hey, Matt, I just had a question about that, if you can hear me.
Yeah.
Are you eligible is the town eligible for grants only if they're certified?
No,
Or,
you become eligible for grants when you formally vote to create the committee and you assign a committee leader, like a chairperson, and they are the person, let's say, we got a citizen to volunteer and say, I'll chair this thing. Their name goes to the state as the key point contact. And then we're eligible for the grant funding. And there's multiple opportunities to get that.
okay, thanks.
Did you second that, Rich?
Yeah, or I made the motion.
Oh, you made the motion. All right, I'll second.
Table.
All right, any other comments?
And how this is set up is that, and I'm just throwing it out there, is it possible to still have 2 committees, or are you only allowed 1 committee?
Oh, no, well, if we have a sustainable Bethel committee that's registered with Sustainable CT, that also has energy.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have that and then also a separate energy committee. You could even have the same people from the energy committee that we have just be part of this and then add the people who want to do recycling.
Yeah,
and
well,
conservation.
I think that's a good thing to make the committee big enough where you can have subcommittees as the energy and recycling and whatever else it might be.
Yep.
But also I know when you get too big of a committee, you lose control when people don't show up too. It's hard to get a quorum when you have a large number of people.
Well,
Five, you only need 3, but if you got 10, you gotta have 7.
that's the problem that Bill has right now,
Yeah.
because we kept, putting more people on.
Right, yeah.
Who at one time were interested, and apparently aren't
Yeah.
anymore. All right, so we have a motion on the floor to table and then invite Mr. Craddy to come and talk to us about that. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, that carries.
Matt, before you adjourn, did you want to add LoSiP tonight, or do you want to handle that at your 11/3 meeting? It would still be before the Board of Finance, so.
Yeah, I'll do it at the next meeting because I want to hand out the material to these guys.
Okay, perfect.
All right, thanks, Brad.
Now, when is our next Board of Selectmen's meeting? Because it's a Tuesday, that's election day.
We're not gonna have a meeting on the second, we'll have it on the third. So it'll be a special meeting.
No, I think it's actually a regular meeting. I think we built it.
Do we build it in?
Oh, we
Oh,
built it in?
Yeah,
Oh.
I think we did.
okay, well,
We usually do.
yeah, that's right. Okay, so we'll do that then, because that still gives us plenty of time before the town meeting. All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that carries. Thank you very much. Thanks, Marty. Thanks, Eric. Thank you.
See you later.
I know. Good night.
Steve.
Good night.